Hello, everybody. Peace and blessings. Love and light, wholeness and health. Peace and blessings, love and light, wholeness and health. Peace and blessings, love and light, wholeness and health. Been out to seeing a few days because sometimes you have to, when you deal in energy and everything is energy, you have to know when you're not navigating right. You have to know when you're not in alignment. You got to know when to pull back. You have to know. Have to know implies choice. And that's the word we're going to speak on today. I'm going to try to breeze through this. I had to touch in. I figured I debated about it, but I needed to touch in and touch base with everybody. But today is choice, so we're going to go start with the synonym finder. Choice reads selection, electism, adoption, acceptance, embracement, espousal, choosing, election, co-option, co-optation, novation, appointment, assignment, nomination, vote, voice, determination, decision, commitment, judgment, opinion, discretion, volition, will, conclusion, discrimination, selectivity, differentiation, and discernment. Amongst the many other words they got, but I ain't gonna try to go through them all. I think we get the idea. Chip it down. Work with me. So from that, as usual, I got to investigate myself. There. Choice reads as defined an act of selecting or making a decision when faced with two or more possibilities. In other words, the choice between choosing good or evil. The act or opportunity of choosing or the thing chosen. Choice suggests the opportunity or privilege of choosing freely. Freedom of choice option implies a power to choose that is specifically granted or guaranteed. How do we know when to choose something that will be specifically granted or guaranteed? It's a lot of play in between that. A choice can be a person or thing that has been chosen or that can be chosen. Example, she was a good choice for the job. He was a good choice for the job. Everything is a choice. No change can happen until choices are made and you have to make a conscious choice to change. Everything is a choice. No change can happen until choices are made and you have to make a conscious choice for change to happen. When we choose consciously, change will happen. You always have a choice, no matter what our circumstances. No matter what our circumstances are, we always have a choice about how to think, feel, and react. And if we want to change something, we can simply make a different choice, a change of mind. That's power. We have to exercise a more excellent way of our choice system to add more power to our life instead of take power from it. How can we all choose positive, productive ways to think, feel, and react that were in our own lives and others' best interests? How can we all choose more positive, productive ways to think, feel, and react that are not only in our best interest, but in the best interest of others? We're talking about choices. Every choice has an effect, a consequence, whether good or bad. Each person has the right to make decisions and have choices about how they live their life. Each person has different ideas about what is important and what makes them feel best. Making your own choices about the things you do is very important because it gives your life meaning. How, how, how will you choose better choices to add more meaning to your life? Let's see what Seed of the Soul has to say. For y'all who want to go get the book, Seed of the Soul. Choice. The center of the evolutionary process is choice. It is the engine of our evolution. Each choice that you make is a choice of intention. We just talked about intention. You may choose to remain silent in a particular situation, for example, and that action may serve the intention of penalizing, sharing compassion, extracting vengeance, showing patience, or loving. You may choose to speak forcefully, and that action may serve of the same intention. What you choose with each action and each thought is an intention, a quality of consciousness that you bring to your action or to your thought. The splintered personality has several or many aspects. The splintered personality has several or many aspects. This is why I don't use the term mind states, because I'm not divided. I'm whole. We're trying to get whole. One aspect may be loving and patient, another may be vindictive, another charitable, and another selfish. Each of these aspects has its own values and goals. If you are not conscious of all of the different parts of yourself, the part of yourself that is the strongest will win out over the other parts. If you are not conscious of all the different parts of yourself, the part of you that is the strongest will win out over all the other parts. Its intention will be the one that the personality uses to create its reality. Y'all pardon. Its intention will be the one that the personality uses to create its reality. The charitable part of you, for example, may want to see the burglar that was caught in your house given another chance. But if the vindictive part of you is stronger, you will perhaps with mixed feelings press for his or her arrest. You cannot choose your intentions consciously until you become conscious of each of the different aspects of yourself. If you are not conscious of each part of yourself, you will have the experience of wanting to say or to intend one thing and finding yourself saying or intending something else. You will want your life to move in one direction and find that it is moving in another. You will desire to release a painful pattern from your experience and see it reappear again and again. It is not easy for a splintered personality to become whole because only some parts of your splintered personality seek wholeness. Lord have mercy. The other parts, because they are not as responsible or caring or compassionate as the parts that seek wholeness, pull the other way. Pull the other way. They seek to create what selfishness satisfies them with, what they have become accustomed to. These parts of the personality are often strong and well established. The splintered personality must always choose between opposing parts of itself. This is the backbone situation of our evolution. This is the foundational situation, the point of choice. The choice of intention is also the choice of karmic path. If you speak or act from anger, for example, you create the karma of anger. If you speak or act with compassion, you create the karma of compassion, and a different path opens before you. This happens whether you are aware of the different parts of yourself or not, whether even you are aware of the choices that you make at each moment. Unconscious evolution through the density of physical matter, through the experiences that are created unconsciously by unconscious intention, has been the way of our species till now. This is the unconscious road to authentic empowerment. It's crazy how when you become conscious, you can see people moving consciously unconscious. I'm going to say it again. I say it's amazing how when you become conscious, you can actually see people moving consciously unconscious. Conscious evolution through responsible choice is the accelerated way of evolution of the multisensory personality. And the 5 sensory personality, that is becoming multisensory. We gotta power up. We gotta vibrate up. Responsible choice is the conscious road to authentic empowerment. What is responsible choice? As you follow your feelings, you become aware of the different parts of yourself and the different parts of yourself that your feelings want. You cannot have all of them at once because many of them conflict. The part of you that wants more money and a bigger house conflicts with the part of you that suffers with the poor and hunger. The part of you that reaches out with compassion toward the brooding and others conflicts with the part of you that want to use others for your own good, benefit, or gratification. When you satisfy one part of yourself, the needs of another go unsatisfied. That's unbalanced. The fulfillment of one part of you creates anguish in another, or others, or you are torn. Just as the experiment in quantum physics cannot produce the experience of waves from physical light and the experience of particles from physical light at the same time, and must choose which experience he or she will create. So you also, as you shape non-physical light, must choose which experience you will create. As you become conscious of the different parts of your personality, you become able to experience consciously the forces within you that compete for expression, that lay claim to the single intention that will be yours at each moment, that will shape your reality. When you enter these dynamics consciously, you create for yourself the ability to choose consciously among the forces within you, to choose where and how you will focus your energy. The choice not to choose is the choice to remain unconscious and therefore to wield power irresponsibly. Awareness of the splinter personality and of its needs for integration brings with it the need for conscious choice. Each decision requires that you choose which parts of yourself you want to cultivate and which parts of yourself you want to release. It ain't always been how you always been. I just had to tell my sister that. It ain't always it ain't always good being how you always been. And I relate to that most because I'm somebody I've never been today. And I'm better than I never been today. A responsible choice is a choice that takes into account the consequences of each of your choices. In order to make a responsible choice, you must ask yourself for each choice that you are considering, what will this produce? How will it affect everybody involved? More so, how will it affect me? Do I really want to create that? Am I really ready to accept all of the consequences of my choices? Project yourself into the probable future that will unfold with each choice that you are considering. Do this not with an energy of intention, but simply test the water to get the feel of what you are considering creating. See how you feel. Ask yourself, is this what I really want? And then decide. When you take the consequences of your choice into your decision, and when you choose to remain conscious, that is a responsible choice. Only through responsible choice can you choose consciously to cultivate and nourish the needs of your soul and to challenge and release the wants of your personality. We are not our personality. This is the choice of clarity and wisdom, the choice of conscious transformation. It is the choice of the higher frequency energy currents of love, forgiveness, and compassion. It is the choice to follow the voice of your higher self, your soul, your spirit. It is the decision to open yourself to the guidance and assistance of your guides and teachers. It is the path that leads consciously to authentic power. How does this happen? You may be aware that deceiving another person is not in alignment with your soul, but decide to do it anyway in order to gain a profit or save a relationship that you are not ready to lose. You may know that the path of compassion is to share your thoughts and actions, and yet decide not to share them because that you think that would cost you money or security. When you choose the energy of your soul, when you choose to create with the intentions of love, forgiveness, humbleness, and clarity, you gain power. When you choose to create with the energy of your personality with anger, jealousy, or fear, lack, doubt, when you choose to learn through fear and doubt, you lose power. You gain or lose power, therefore, according to the choices that you make. The personality is interested in itself. It likes thrills, so to speak. It is not necessarily responsible, nor caring, nor loving. The soul is the energy of universal love, wisdom, and compassion. It creates with these energies. The personality understands power as external. Excuse me. The personality understands power as external. It perceives in terms of competition, threats, and gains and losses that are measured against those of others. When you align yourself with your personality, you give your power to the realm of the five senses, to external circumstances and objects and people. You disempower yourself. You disempower yourself. As you grow aware of your spiritual self and origin, your immortalness, and you choose and live accordingly to that first and the physical second, you close the gap that exists between the personality and the soul. You begin to experience authentic power. When you interact in terms of the perceptions of your personality, in terms of your five senses, there's an illusion that you do not see. A disagreement between two friends, for example, is not so much a disagreement as aspects of each surfacing in order to be healed. If they were not souls in agreement, they would not be together at all. If a father longs to be at the birth of his son, for example, but circumstances take him elsewhere, the perception that he is elsewhere is an illusion. He is with his son. As the personality becomes whole and empowered, it becomes content to let the illusion play out. This is the creation of the dynamic of the soul whereby, no matter what the situation it is in, it creates the best of all worlds from the power that it draws to the situation. From the perception of the personality, it is not possible to see clearly those human beings who, from the outside, appear to be making foolish decisions or to be unaware of their environment, when in truth they are simply drinking from the finest nectar of their environment and are totally content to let the illusion play. The splendid personality is not content. The contentment that it feels in one moment is replaced by anger or fear or envy in the next moment as conflicting aspects of itself struggle with each other. Your responses to the struggles between the conflicting aspects of yourself determine the way that you will evolve, consciously or unconsciously. Through the experience of negative karma or positive, through fear and doubt or through wisdom. Your struggles themselves do not create karma or determine the way that you will evolve, only your responses to them. We are not what happens, but we are responsible for how we react to what happens. If your struggle with the conflicting parts of yourself is conscious, you are able to choose consciously the response that will create the karma that you desire. You will be able to bring to bear upon your decision an awareness of what lies behind each choice and the consequences of choice and choose accordingly. When you enter into your decision-making dynamic consciously, you insert your will consciously into the creative cycle through which your soul evolves. And you enter consciously into your own evolution, your own expansion, your own self-awareness, your own higher power, the God within. This requires effort, but it is really more difficult than living through the consequences that follow a decision to act in anger, or selfishness, or fear, when you know that with each decision to act without compassion, you yourself will experience the same discord, the same fear, the same anguish that you created in another. It is not worth the effort to project yourself ahead into the probable consequences of each of your actions at each point of choice and see how you will feel in each instant, how comfortable you will be with each of the consequences, if doing that will allow you to harvest love, compassion, and authentic power. How comfortable you will be with each of the consequences, if doing that will allow you to harvest love, compassion, and authentic power. The effort that you apply to each decision to align yourself with your soul is rewarded many times. The part of yourself that reaches toward light may not be the strongest part of you at the moment that you choose the journey toward authentic power consciously. At the moment that you choose the vertical path, but is the part that is the part that the universe backs up. When it becomes necessary, for example, for the physical, emotional body of a person to heal, a dramatic shift in nutrition is often required, wherein a person must release every one of his or her eating habits and take on the habits of eating certain foods that are much higher in vibration. 90% of the person's personality may not want to do that. Trust me, I know. But the 10% that is choosing that path for the sake of health and wholeness has more power ultimately than the 90% that is fighting to remain where it is and have its own way. Because the universe backs the 10% and not the 90%. Think in terms of what it means to make decisions and try to cause the rest of you to fall in alignment with them. That's a responsible choice. And as you move into the healing of who you are and the conscious journey toward what it is you want, recognize that the universe backs the part of you that is of clearest intention. You are constantly receiving guidance and assistance from your guides and teachers and from the universe itself. When you choose consciously to move toward the energy of your soul, you will invite that guidance. When you ask the universe to bless you in your effort to align yourself with your soul, you open a passageway between yourself and your guides and your teachers. You assist their efforts to assist you. You invoke the power of the non-physical world. That is what a blessing is. The opening of a passage, the opening. That is what a blessing is. The opening of a passageway between you and non-physical guidance. A personality that is conscious of its splendidness and struggles constantly to become whole does not need to create negative karma in order to evolve, in order to learn, to create responsibility, in order to acquire authentic power. When you struggle consciously with a choice between the wants of your personality and the needs of your soul, you enter a dynamic through which you are enabled to evolve without creating negative karma. That is the dynamic of temptation. What is temptation? Temptation is the universe. The universe's compassionate way of allowing you to run through what would be a harmful negative karmic dynamic if you were to allow it to become physically manifest. It is the energy through which your soul is given the gracious opportunity to have a dry run at a life lesson, at a situation that, if you can see clearly, can be removed and healed within the confines of your private world of energy and not spill into a larger energy field of other souls. Temptation is a dress rehearsal for a karmic experience of negativity. It's an injustice to place my shit on somebody else. It's an injustice to place your shit, your inner garbage, on somebody else. I want y'all to think about that. I've done it, and I know all of us has done it, but it ain't a good thing. The entire dynamic of temptation is the compassionate way of allowing you to see your potential pitfalls and clean yourself before you can affect the lives of others. We gotta stop passing our garbage. We gotta stop dropping our garbage in other people's yard. We gotta stop leaving our garbage in other people's life, man. Stop bringing it to their energy field. More so, cleanse ourselves, get it out, get that mess up out of our life. If you know what your mess is, clean it up. Nobody got to tell you. We grown. It is a form of decoy in which the negativity is compassionately drawn from you. If you can see that before you create karma. As you respond to the decoy, you cleanse yourself by becoming aware and not having to actually live through the experience. Stop creating the experiences that we do not want. We must. You cleanse yourself without creating karma and interaction with other souls. How exquisite is temptation? It is the magnet which draws your awareness to that which would create negative karma if it were allowed to remain unconscious. How exquisite is temptation? It is the magnet which draws your awareness to that which would create negative karma if it were allowed to remain unconscious. In other words, temptation is a thought form that is designed to draw possible negativity from the human energy system without harming others. The soul understands that, left to its own device, it would operate completely within the human energy system without spilling over and contaminating the collective conscious. Temptations are not traps. Each temptation is an opportunity through which the soul is able to learn without creating karma, to evolve directly through conscious choice. The dynamic of temptation is the energy of what might be thought of as the challenging dynamic of the human experience. At the Luciferic principle, it serves the purpose of assisting the evolution of power. Lucifer means light bearer. light bringer. Temptation. The Luciferic principle is the dynamic through which each soul is graciously offered the opportunity to challenge those parts of yourself that resist light. Which parts of you are resisting the light? The Luciferic energy is represented in the Garden of Eden story by a snake, by the idea of a presence other than human that could tempt, but literally could not have dominion over the human being at all. Let me repeat that for those who missed it. The Luciferic energy is represented in the Garden of Eden story by a snake. The snake represents the idea of a presence other than human that could tempt, but literally could not have no dominion, no power, no real influence over the human being. The Luciferic energy tempts the level of human being that is mortal, that is five sensory, but the snake cannot destroy the soul. It can merely threaten that part of you that becomes too linked to the physical. The snake is of the earth. When you are too close to the earth, when you find yourself honoring the gods of the earth and make earth your god and master, then so too you shall be bit. That's metaphorical. There's a fine line between it. The light-bringing energy, the Luciferic energy that tempted the person Jesus of Nazareth, who became the Christ, and that tempted the person Siddhartha Gautama, who became the Buddha, is the same energy that tempts you. It tempts the accountant to steal, the student to cheat, the spouse to adultery, the human being to external power. It opposes the light of your immortal soul to the physical light of your personality. It sets before you the vertical path and the horizontal path. What is the nature of transformation? It is the compassionate way of temptation. Temptation is the gracious way of introducing each soul to his or her power. When you are seduced or threatened by external circumstances, you lose power. They gain power over you. With each choice that you make to align yourself with the energy of your soul, you empower yourself. This is how authentic power is acquired. It is built up step by step, choice by choice. It cannot be meditated or prayed into being. It must be earned. I do this daily. It must be earned. When you choose to release anger, for example, you create an energy template around you which your experiences will form. This energy pattern will draw to the surface the anger within you in order that you can release it. When are you tested? You gotta ask yourself, why am I being tested? When you become angry, you gotta look at why you being angry instead of reacting to the anger. You gotta look at the triggers. You gotta recognize the triggers. When you choose to release anger, for example, you create an energy template around which your experiences will form. This energy pattern will draw to the surface the anger within you in order that you can release it. When you choose to challenge and to release a negative aspect of yourself, when you choose to release the negative aspect of yourself, that aspect comes to the foreground. Everything starts to serve that purpose. Your dreams show you the archetypal dynamics of your anger. You find yourself continually in situations that generate anger within you. Your life appears to be distorted around anger because that is the aspect of yourself that you have chosen to challenge. And the universe has responded to your choice with compassion and gave you all the opportunity to address that anger. When you constantly invoke growing, constantly invoke wisdom, you constantly invoke the parts of yourself that are not whole to come into the foreground of your life. With each recurrence of anger or jealousy or fear, you are given the choice to challenge it or to give into it. Each time you challenge it, it loses power and you gain power. Each time you are tempted to become angry or jealous or fearful and you challenge that feeling, you empower yourself. There will be no accumulation of strength inside if the choices that you make did not require discipline and intention. If you decide that you cannot beat a temptation, what you are really doing is giving yourself permission to be irresponsible. The desires and impulses that you feel that you cannot resist, that you lack the power to overcome, are your addictions. Addictions are the wants of the parts of your personality that are very strong and resistant to the energy of your soul. They are the aspects of your personality, of your soul incarnate, that are most in need of healing. They are your greatest inadequacies. Your addiction may be to food, drugs, anger, women, men, sex, money, gambling, alcohol, who knows, coffee. You may have more than one addiction. In each instant, you cannot release the addiction until you understand the dynamic that underlies it. We must get to the root of all situations to determine how the tree gonna blossom forth. Beneath every addiction is the perception of power as external. There is no power outside of you. If you don't entertain a thing, it don't even exist. If your attention is not put on something, whether it's present or not, it don't even exist to you unless your attention is placed on it. Once your attention is placed on a thing, you have given it power. Beneath every addiction is perception of power as external, as the ability to control and use the environment or others. Beneath every addiction is an issue of power. The journey to the soul begins with understanding, understanding, and overstanding that we are drawn automatically as a species to come to terms with power. Each human being is experiencing the causes and effects of his or her choices, his or her desires to fill in the empty, powerless places within him or her. This dynamic can be described in terms of an insecure humanity, an insecure human being, an insecure person. But that is just the obvious. The mechanism at work is the journey toward genuine, authentic empowerment. This is why each human being struggles so deeply with power. The lack of it, the acquisition of it. What is it really? How one should have it. Underlying every crisis, emotional, spiritual, physical, and psychological, and psychical, is the issue of power. Depending upon the lens that you wear to interpret your crisis, you will either step closer to your soul or closer to the earth. The journey to wholeness requires that you look honestly, openly, and with courage into yourself, into the dynamics that lie behind what you feel, what you perceive, what you value, and how you act. It is a journey through your defenses and beyond, so that you can experience consciously the nature of your personality.